Okay, so let's get the machine together. The first job, you'll see there's a nice little drawer at the back of the machine. Remove that completely. And if I tip the machine up, you'll see that there's a polystyrene block that's been inserted to protect the components during transit. We need to remove that. Okay, so let's get this drawer back in. So now let's put the wheel on. Now this is a left-hand thread, which means to undo it we've got to turn it in a clockwise direction. It's a great feature on this machine. As the stone is rotating, it's actually tightening this nut. Alright, so let's remove the nut. Clockwise direction. We're going to remove this washer. Now we're going to remove this plastic sleeve. Now the only reason that's on there is to protect this spindle in transit, because we wouldn't want that washer rattling around. It's also worth noting that there's a washer at the back of the spindle. We want that there. Let's put the stone in place. But it's worth pointing out that you need to apply a pressure on the back of this honing wheel here. If we don't, we're just going to push the spindle right the way through the machine. So pressure on the outside of the honing wheel, and I can push that stone in place. Washer goes back on. And now our left-handed nut, and this is only hand tight, don't have to tighten it too hard. Okay, so the next bit is really important because we've got to remove the honing wheel and you can see this component here. This is called the drive spindle, and around it is a plastic sheath that we must remove. It's on there to protect the drive wheel. So if you don't remove it, it'll just keep slipping, the machine won't work. And now we just put the honing wheel back on. Okay, so next we're going to locate the trough. There are two little brackets on the rear of the trough. They need to be inserted into the slots in the machine. It's actually easier as you slide it underneath. Because this is a 10-inch wheel, we want to make sure that they go on the lower slots to start off with. It's easier to insert the trough onto the rear of the machine first, and then you can push it into the one next to the drawer last. And finally we've got the supporting arm, and there's two positions where the supporting arm can be located on the machine, either here like this, and in this position the wheel is going to travel away from the supporting arm, or alternatively we can position the arm on top of the machine like this so that the stone is travelling towards the supporting arm, and this is where we want it to start off with. This is where we're going to use the arm to true the stone. So the stone will absorb around 1 litre of water from dry. So let's begin by filling the water trough to the fill mark whilst the machine is on and the sharpening stone is rotating. So this will ensure that it absorbs an equal amount of water around the stone's circumference. So keep topping up the stone until the water remains at a consistent level. You're always going to need to ensure that the trough has sufficient water so that it can be carried to the blade. When the stone is not in use, then drop the water trough so that the stone can dry out evenly. This machine comes with some really nice touches. The first thing is the angle finder. It's magnetised and can be located in the nice little receptacle there. Secondly, the angle setting gauge, that's magnetised too, and it'll just sit on the body of the machine. Finally, one of the really good bits is that you've got this drawer, and so it's easy to locate all of your accessories, to store them neatly away so that you don't lose them.